Yellowstone supervolcano, and the geologists are explaining why mega earthquakes are the greatest hazard and not the eruptions. Yellowstone volcano greatest hazard is a large earthquake, for example, like the one that they had in 7.3 magnitude in 1959, and not another eruption of the ancient supervolcano. This is what the U.S. Geological Survey explains. Even though Yellowstone volcano's last three eruptions were cataclysmic, we're talking about the super eruptions because it's had quite a number of eruptions since then. The super eruptions were 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 640,000 years ago, which was a double eruption, 170 years apart. But then there was another lava eruption of 70,000 years ago, and since then another 80 eruptions. So it erupts just about every 6,000 years. But the last major earthquake struck Yellowstone 61 years ago, and each year the park says that the supervolcano is rocked by about 1,500 to 2,000 earthquakes a year. So it makes it one of the most seismic active hotspots in the United States. And because of the seismicity, anyone fearing another Yellowstone eruption should reconsider what the real greatest geological hazard is. And according to the recent Caldera Chronicles for Yellowstone by USGS, they say in a previous YYC article, Yellowstone Caldera, we discussed the 1959 magnitude 7.3 Hebgen earthquake that happened in Hebgen Lake, which is northeast of the caldera, is on the side just outside of the Wyoming border on Montana. And it occurred just west of Yellowstone National Park. And they said because of this earthquake and the thousands of others that were recorded each year, we know that the area is seismically active and is capable of producing large and damaging earthquakes. In fact, because of their rate of occurrence, large earthquakes represent one of the greatest geological hazards in the area, much more so than a volcanic eruption. When Hebgen Lake earthquake struck August 17, 1959, that was a size 7.3. The earthquake struck 6.5 miles west-northwest of Yellowstone, Montana, and it triggered a large landslide in Madison Canyon. It also created what is known as Earthquake Lake. The landslide estimated to have released about 15 million cubic yards of rock, mud, and debris, burying the nearby Rock Creek campsite. And the landslide also backed up Madison River, and it blocked off its flow, creating Earthquake Lake. And it's still there today. But of the thousands of earthquakes that rock Yellowstone every year, most are too weak to be noticed. And the USGS estimates that about 5 quakes were felt each year in the last decade. Most of the earthquakes range from 0 to 2 magnitude. The largest earthquake recently was a 4.8 near Yellowstone's Norris Geyser Basin in 2014. USGS says, so while there is always a chance that visitors to Yellowstone will feel an earthquake, the chances increase if there is a significant swarm occurring, and the reports of earthquakes in Yellowstone region date back all the way to 1871. That's when the first expeditions into this part of the U.S. were made, when Ferdinand Hayden led a team of researchers into Yellowstone that year. They did feel earthquakes while camping on the north shore of Yellowstone Lake. The expedition recorded their experience August 1st, 1871. That's when they wrote, "This morning about 1 o'clock, we had quite an earthquake. The first shock lasted about 20 seconds and was followed by 5 or 6 shorter ones. And Duncan, who was on guard, says the trees were shaken and that the horses that were lying on the ground sprang to their feet. We had 3 shocks during the morning." And so that's why the U.S. warns us to remember that Yellowstone is earthquake prone, it's earthquake country, so that people should be prepared when they do visit that there could be damaging events. This is by Express UK, and it's by Sebastian Ketley. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.